A rhinoceros beetle is on its back in the paved forecourt, prickly black legs stabbing the air, pivoting in a futile arc against the hard, flat, gray regularity. People walk by. Inside, a dramatic scene is enacted soundlessly under the fluorescent lights, framed by the plate glass. Insistent hands, exaggerated faces, accuse the ugly illumination. I watch, a momentary diversion, trying to figure out the plot of a silent movie. The automatic doors slide open, carrying voices with it. Check your security cameras. What did I say? What did I say? Then they are muffled again as the doors close behind a woman, bent in the middle over her trolley, the bow wave of her stomach pushing it forward, her legs as both paddles and rudder, while her thumbs work rapidly at her phone. Beside her, a small, incurious boy stares straight ahead, anchored to the trolley by two listless fingers. They go, wordless, unseeing. They narrowly miss the beetle. Beyond them, I spy a pear-shaped woman, struggling to set her empty trolley against the wall of the store next door. But the pavement is narrow and sloping there, so the trolley won't stay put. I sense her frustration, and think to do a small courtesy by relieving her of the trolley. It is my job, after all. I'll take that for you, I offer, bemused, as I approach her. But she is walking away. I can take that for you, I repeat myself, as she tries to set it against the next section of wall, and the next. I will take it. Louder, more insistent. But still, she doesn't hear me. She walks with the trolley further from the store, so I follow, 3 paces behind in resignation, around the corner of the building now, until she is satisfied with her placement. I sigh, rather more audibly than I intended. Oh, she heard that. She wheeled about in an indignant huff, red-faced in the heat, a thick, blunt fringe sticking to her forehead with sweat. You shouldn't give a damn where I leave it. It doesn't matter whether I leave it here or across the street. It's your job to collect it. I've worked jobs much harder than you. When I lived in, you're a legend, I respond, with affected carelessness, and walk hurriedly off with the trolley, leaving her rant to hiss in the dead air. But I can feel the panic surging inside at such a readiness to venom. Was it my fault? No, it's the heat, that is all, making tempers flare. So forget it and calm myself. How does it go again? Tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day to the last syllable of recorded time, and all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death, out brief candle lives. But a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Signifying nothing. I look at my watch. I've got time to collect that last full load of trolleys from the bottom bay, and take my half-hour break. Then I notice a forgotten roast chicken, suspended in its bag from a trolley hook. It happens a lot. Nearby, a teenager is sitting in the passenger side of a car with the windows up, head bowed, face aglow. The car is running, going nowhere, burning fossil fuels for the aircon. I knock on the glass and make a winding sign with my hand, and they look at me vacantly as I realize that nobody wins a window down these days. So I just show the chook bag and they shake their head and return to their tiny universe. Throw it out, they instruct me at the front counter. We don't know how long it has been sitting out there in the heat. If they come back for it, we will give them a fresh one. I ask about the earlier kerfuffle. He took offense at being asked to wait his turn respectfully. Out back in the waste room, Glenn is staring despondently into the industrial bin. I hold the chook bag up. Another chicken that died for nothing, Glenn, and toss it in. He shakes his head and gestures toward the large tray of prime rump steaks in the bin. They didn't have a barcode. We both stare dumbly at the steaks. My dog could eat that, I say at last. My whole family could eat that, he replied flatly, and we are quiet again. But it won't do. It's just like the fucking grapes of wrath. And we launch into an impassioned summary of the injustices in Steinbeck's novel right there in the bin room, with the stench of capitalism assaulting our sensibilities. In the staff room, I take a seat at the table and check my phone. There is a text memo. A dire warning from my team leader about unnamed persons having been witnessed sitting down 15 minutes before clock off. This is very serious, a sackable offense, regarded as time theft by the company. Security cameras will be reviewed. At the other end of the table, concerns about the costs of running the dryer every night. Well, you could always try hanging your clothes outside on the line. I offered, Riley. They would dry much quicker in this weather anyhow. And you know, it's doing your bit for the planet as well as the power bill. I don't have time for that shit. I am too fucking busy working at this place. And then the little sting I was waiting for. You are obviously a much better person than me. I smile. We both know I'm just an ineffectual thoughts hippie. We would all be better people if we had more time. I make a mental note to resist preaching about the environment. People are just trying to get through their day. They don't have time for tomorrows. I'm sweeping the floors at one end of a galley, mildly amused. Guy is at the other end, white-haired and bespectacled, holding long pink rashers of bacon just inches off the snub of his nose. His gloved fingertips fumble for traction to separate the clinging strips. The rashers flap about, lethargically, and stay stuck. He grunts his weariness. The store will be closing soon. Last-minute shoppers have clustered around the delicatessen, stupefied by the reanimated meat, willing it into its individual parts by the force of their collective silence. Time stretches, lengthening the last few minutes of summer's interminable daylight. A large woman, with a presence as ample as her form, can't hold herself up any longer. She has slumped over the counter, propped up by an elbow on the glass, her palm squashing her cheek, and one languid eye fixed on the bacon. Suddenly, into the torpor, the big woman injects a strident voice. Life's a bitch, ain't it? It's loud. It jars against the tiles of the sterile white walls. And Guy flinches. He throws his head back. For a moment, it looks like he is about to lose all composure, but then he masters his vexation, and the bacon peels apart with an audible, slurping relief. The tension dissipates. But still, no one dares to acknowledge the statement that's left hanging there, deflating, giving its air to the vacuum. So I just go back to sweeping. But what I want to do is throw my broom down and applaud. I want to rejoice, to vault across the counter in gratitude and squeeze those wonderfully plump, brown cheeks that gave such rich, emphatic, and urgently living voice to the unbearable shittiness. And then, I remember the beetle. Outside, the atmosphere is still thick and stifling. The sun is setting. I observe the heavy cloud cover with dismay. No relief is coming tonight. The problem is that you are not a butterfly. No one cares for your ugly thorns and prickles. The beetle buries its spurs painfully into the sponge of my palm, desperate for substance to push against, and all the while, hissing a shrill vibrato of displeasure. It leaves a pinprick of blood behind as I release it. Right way up. Into the garden. Out. Damn spot. Out. I inspect the blood, and then I'm reminded of the tiny chick, a welcome swallow, that I once cradled in this same soft palm. It had fallen from its nest high in the girders, and lay gasping on the pavement. I gave witness as, beak agape with airless horror, closed its eyes into narrow slits of surrender. I had placed it too, right here in the garden, and so wonder if they are even mindful of the butterflies. I take my phone from the locker to check my bank balance, and make a quick calculation of the groceries I can afford. At the checkout, Ruth asks me if I made a statement about the incident earlier today. The customer has demanded the checkout operator's livelihood. If he doesn't get his due satisfaction, he will take his complaint to the area manager and the media. HR is investigating. See you tomorrow? She asks, in the usual charade of feigned optimism for the new day. I offer my backpack up for inspection in front of the cameras, a security protocol that applies only to staff, in case we are stealing things other than measurable time. Then I make a theatrical gesture with wide open arms, and an exaggerated curtsy. See you tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow. And then it's the weekend.